We are going to study about Rashid Kawawa. Rashid Kawawa. We talked of, Nyerere is the founding father of Tanganyika and Tanzania. But we have also to talk about people who were with him, especially those first few years. Rashid Kawawa was the second prime minister in Tanganyika or Tanzania. The first one, of course, was Julius Kabarage Nyerere. And even after the union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar to make Tanzania, he was the second vice president. But then, let us start about his history. He was born in Songea in 1926. He attended his primary school in Dar es Salaam and secondary education in Tabora. He was called to Makerere University, but refused to go for further studies because he looked behind and saw his siblings and he wanted them educated. He knew the parents could not afford. So if he would have worked, he would use his salary to supplement the parents to educate his younger siblings. So he was called to Makerere, but he refused. He was employed as an accounts clerk with the Public Works Department. Now, Public Works Department is what we now call Ministry of Works. And those years, being a clerk was a very senior position. That is why you hear bahati ya Mtende. Mtende alitaka kuandikwa kazi gani, lakini akaandikwa kama karani. Karani was a very senior person. Actually, my father was given a Luo name because a clerk was called Lando who visited, and they remembered a VIP had visited. So those years, being a clerk was a very senior position. He refused to go to Makerere. He was employed as an accounts clerk with the Public Works Department, which today is called Ministry of Works. It was when he was working there that he found that accounts was not his liking. He was so much good in social services, so he became a social worker. He was among the founders of Tanganyika Federation of Labor. He was the founding Secretary General of Tanganyika Federation of Labor in 1955. Those days, he used to be so much, alikuwa anatetea watu wake sana until he was given a nickname, Simba wa Vita. I want to tell you that if you look at the history of our countries, very many trade unionists ended up as politicians. We have Tomboya, we have Juma Boy, and others and others. So he started as a social worker. Later he joined Tanganyika Federation of Labor, becoming its founding Secretary General in 1955, where he was nicknamed Simba wa Vita. In 1956, he resigned from the civil service because it was said that you could not mix politics, and you could not mix politics when you are civil servant. That is 1956. And in 1957, he became the Secretary General of TANU, Tanzania African National Union. Most African countries gained, especially in the eastern side, gained independence with political parties who are called ANU. Kenya we had KANU, Tanzania we had TANU, Zimbabwe we had ZANU, and so on and so forth. So in 1957 he was the Secretary General of TANU, and he joined the LegCo. LegCo is what today is called National Assembly, but the short for LegCo is Legislative Assembly. In 1960, he joined the cabinet and resigned from Tanganyika Federation of Labor. He resigned from Tanganyika Federation of Labor because at that time you could not mix that. Remember, Tom Mboya also was in the railways labor movement, but when he became a minister, he had to resign. In 1960, he became the vice president of TANU. Remember, he used to be the Secretary General. Now he became in 1960 the vice president of the political party called TANU. Nowadays, especially in Kenya, we used to have but in other countries they have a party has its president and a vice president. But in equivalence for those who are in Kenya, just say that party vice president is similar to what we now call in Kenya party leader and deputy party leader. So party vice president is deputy party leader. In 1962, he was appointed a prime minister. But even shortly later, a few months later, in December 1962, that was on 9th December 1962, Tanzania became a republic and he was made the Tanganyika. Tanganyika became a republic and he was made the vice president of the Tanganyika government. So the president was Julius Kabarage Nyerere of the party, both the party, TANU, and the country. And our friend here was the vice president, both of the party and the government. In 1964, Tanganyika and Zanzibar joined together to form Tanzania. And the constitution said that the first vice president had to come from Zanzibar. That was Sheikh Karume. So Sheikh Karume, who was the president of Zanzibar, became the first vice president of the United Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, United Republic of Tanzania. So Sheikh Karume became the first vice president and our friend became the second vice president. Not only was he the second vice president, he was the principal assistant to the president and the leader of government business in the National Assembly. In 1972, that was 17th February, he was made the Prime Minister of Tanzania. Sometimes later, can't recall when, he swapped places with Edward Sokoine. Edward Sokoine was the Minister for Defense and National Services. So Edward Sokoine became the Prime Minister, and the person who was the Vice President 10 years ago, he was now just a mere minister and Minister for Defense and National Services. For Kenyans, if you want to know national services, you know something called NYS. In some countries, you complete school, you must go through NYS. So it is a big department there. In 1985, he left service. He left government, 1985. And then in 1994, he declared that he has retired from politics. That is the history of Rashid Kawawa. According to my understanding, he is still alive. Maybe Tanzanians, if there is anything to add, you can add in the comments section. Thank you.